Exposed, a touching story of a poor orphan's incredible resilience that changed her life forever. Lily walked slowly down the cracked sidewalk of her quaint Midwest town, shadows of the past clinging tightly to her heels. The laughter of children echoed around her, a cruel reminder of her solitude. Just a year ago, she had danced in the sun with her parents, their warm embraces a fortress against the world. But after the accident, a void replaced their presence, leaving Lily adrift. In her eyes, the townsfolk saw not a little girl in need of love, but a label, an orphan, unworthy and alone. At the foster home, love felt like a distant star, beautiful but unreachable. The walls echoed with silence, while her heart thundered with despair. Each night, she nestled beneath the scratchy blankets, the lingering scent of old fabric mixed with despair. But amidst her suffocating isolation, she discovered an unexpected refuge. The local library, with its dusty shelves and the comforting scent of old books, welcomed her like an old friend. Here, she dove into stories that lit a spark within her, tales of adventure and courage that whispered promises of hope. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Even while struggling against the heavy clouds of stigma, Lily held tight to an unwavering belief in the American dream: hard work, perseverance, and self-reliance. In time, her determination bore fruit. The beloved librarian, Mrs. Whitman, became her guiding star, nurturing her love for literature and gently encouraging Lily to embrace her dreams. But when Mrs. Whitman fell ill, Lily's heart broke. It was up to her to rally the townsfolk. With each visit, she shared stories of generosity and kindness, urging them to help their ailing friend. Just as Lily stood poised to be the voice of her community, tragedy struck again. A scholarship was awarded to a popular student, one who hadn't shown even a fraction of Lily's dedication. The announcement crackled through the school like lightning, igniting a fire within her. Enough was enough. She stood before the school board, trembling yet fierce, her voice slicing through the air as she spoke of integrity and worthiness. The whispers of the crowd murmured behind her, eyes filled with admiration, excitement, and a pinch of doubt. But in the whirlwind of self-discovery came another twist. A letter, delicate and yellowed, appeared at her door one chilly afternoon. It wasn't just any letter, it was from her estranged grandmother. For too long, she had assumed the woman had forgotten her. Yet now, she learned her grandmother lived just down the road and wanted to reconnect. Hope fluttered in her chest, but uncertainty curled around her heart like a vine. Would she be welcomed with open arms, or would it end in more heartache? As Lily stood alone at the crossroads of her new life, she realized that the real journey was just beginning. The expectations of the community loomed, mixed with hope and skepticism, leaving her teetering between fear and potential. Would she forge a new path or remain a shadow, overlooked yet deserving? The uncertain future stretched before her, and with her heart pounding in her ears, she took a deep breath and prepared to face it all. Lily glanced at the crumpled letter, her fingers trembling as she unfolded it once again. Each word felt heavy with meaning, a bridge to a past she barely remembered. The thought of her grandmother, someone she had always thought was lost, sparked a glimmer of hope but also dread. Would this be the reunion she dreamed of or another disappointment? She took a deep breath and looked out the window. The late afternoon sunlight bathed the street in a warm glow, a stark contrast to the storm churning inside her. Mustering courage, she decided to walk the short distance to her grandmother's house. With each step, a mix of anticipation and anxiety twisted in her stomach. As she strolled along the familiar route, shadows danced from behind the trees, and memories of afternoons spent in the park with her parents floated to the surface. She wished they could be there with her, guiding her, reminding her that family is sometimes a choice rather than a given. When she arrived, the house loomed before her, inviting yet intimidating. It was larger than she remembered, painted in soft pastels but now faded from neglect. She stood on the porch, hesitating. Her heart raced as she extended her hand to knock, suddenly aware of how vulnerable she felt. The door creaked open, revealing a frail woman with wisps of silver hair framing her face. There was a moment of silence, each inch of space between them thick with questions. Then her grandmother's eyes, deep and wise, filled with recognition. "Lily?" she whispered, and in that moment, the world fell away. Lily stepped inside, the warmth of the home washing over her. The walls were adorned with photographs, some of which featured her mother smiling and alive. That tugged at her heart deeply. Her grandmother beckoned her further inside, and Lily felt the distance between them bridged by shared memories, longing, and hope. "Your mother used to love this house," her grandmother said softly, gesturing to a small wooden table decorated with delicate porcelain figures. "She always wanted to bring you here." Tears welled in Lily's eyes as she studied the memories surrounding her, memories she hardly knew but felt intrinsically. "I thought you forgot about me," she said, her voice faltering. "I could never forget," her grandmother replied, her voice deepened by regret. "Life took us down different paths, but I never stopped hoping you would find me." The connection began to grow, each word weaving them together. Just as they were at the precipice of rekindling their relationship, laughter erupted from outside. Through the window, Lily could see a group of kids playing soccer just beyond the fence. She felt a pang of longing, the sound tugging her away from this intimate bubble they were crafting. "Would you like to join them?" her grandmother asked, sensing the clash of emotions. "We could walk together." Lily hesitated, the thought of facing the world outside after a year of solitude frightened her. But the idea of sharing this moment, bridging those gaps both inside her heart and with her grandmother, stirred something bold within. "Yes," she replied at last, the determination firming her voice. As they stepped outside hand in hand, a beam of sunlight broke through the clouds above, illuminating a new path stretching before her. But just as they took strides together, another shadow loomed at the edge of the yard, a familiar face watching with a mix of confusion and concern. It was Mia, her former rival from school, but now, she looked more startled than antagonistic. Lily's heart raced again. What would Mia think of her next chapter? Would it send her back into the shadows, or could it open a door? Was she ready to face what was unfolding? As excitement and trepidation whirled within her, the day stretched before her, full of promise and unpredictability. What would she do next? Lily glanced nervously at her grandmother, who stood by her side, offering silent support. The bond they had just begun to form felt tender yet fragile, like a newly sprouted leaf that could easily wither. Mia took a hesitant step forward, her soccer ball at her feet. "Lily?" she called, as if testing a fragile bridge that could either connect or fracture. The breeze stirred the air around them, mixing scents of fresh-cut grass with the faint traces of an impending storm. "Hi, Mia," Lily murmured, unsure how to meet her old rival's gaze. "Are you back in town for a while?" Mia's tone was softer, the sharp edges that once marked their relationship dulled by the years. "I haven't seen you in ages." The honesty in Mia's question both surprised and reassured Lily. She felt a flicker of energy coursing through her, the kind that can only come from shared history, whether joyful or painful. I just found my grandmother," she admitted, avoiding Mia's eyes for fear of the vulnerability spilling over. Mia's expression changed, surprise blooming across her face. "I didn't know. I'm really glad you came. Your grandma's a nice lady." A warmth crept into Lily's heart. Perhaps this wasn't just an encounter steeped in rivalry, but a moment where paths could cross differently. Still, Lily felt the weight of her last year pressing down, acceptance, fear, hope, all knotted within her. "Would you like to come play with us?" Mia gestured toward the group of kids. Rather than an invitation, it felt like a challenge, a test of Lily's willingness to step back into life. I don't know, Lily stuttered, glancing up at her grandmother, who gave an encouraging smile. Maybe we could just walk for a bit? Mia nodded, and a tentative truce settled between them. Sure, let us walk. I'd love to hear about everything. They began to stroll down the sunlit path together, their earlier tensions dissipating like morning mist. With every step, Lily felt the cycle of fear and joy pulsing within her. So, where have you been, really? Mia asked, breaking the comfortable silence. I mean, everyone just heard things, you know? Lily took a deep breath, the truth of her last year pressing at her lips, ready to spill out. I lost my parents, and I just needed to be alone for a while. The words hung in the air, heavy and bittersweet. A flicker of understanding crossed Mia's face, transforming the space between them. I'm sorry, Lily. I had no idea. I've been scared, Lily confessed, her voice shaking. I didn't know how to reach out. It felt easier to hide. Mia stopped and finally met her gaze directly, the conflict of their past fading into something deeper, something real. You know, I felt alone sometimes too. We each have our battles, I get it now. Lily felt a warmth radiating from their unexpected conversation. The tight knot inside her began to unravel as she realized that maybe they shared more than just a troubled history. But just as she began to envision a place of acceptance, a figure in the distance caught her attention. A man standing with arms crossed, his stance imposing. He looked vaguely familiar, someone from her past. As he moved closer, every detail sharpened, the old baseball cap, the worn-out jacket. Her heart raced. No, the word escaped before she could catch it, a whisper that echoed within her. Who is that? Mia's voice held concern mixed with curiosity, breaking Lily from her stunned silence. Someone I thought I had left behind, Lily managed to say, dread pooling in her stomach. What would he want? Was there a piece of her past coming back to haunt her? As the man stepped closer, she prepared herself for the confrontation. Would it shatter everything she had just begun to rebuild? Lily's breath quickened as the figure approached, the sun casting long shadows that tangled around her feet like tendrils of doubt. Memories, fractured and distorted, began to surge, glimpses of laughter from days long gone, moments marred by anger and loss. Mia, I think I need a minute, she stammered, holding up her hand as if it could defend her fragile heart. Sure, Mia replied softly, taking a step back, her eyes flickering with concern. The man moved closer, his features sharpening into clarity. It was Jake, an old friend of her father's, someone she hadn't seen since that fateful day when everything had spiraled out of control. His presence felt like an unwelcome gust of wind, unsettling the delicate balance Lily was trying to find. What are you doing here? She managed, her voice firm despite the quaking in her chest. Lily, Jake's tone softened, and she could sense the weight of his regret. I heard you were back. I wanted to see how you were doing. Why now? After everything? Lily shot back, anger flaring in her chest. How dare he show up like this? Didn't he understand the wreckage left behind? He ran a hand through his messy hair, nervousness breaking through his imposing exterior. I know I don't have a right to ask, but I wanted to explain, to apologize. Your dad was my best friend. And when everything happened, I wasn't there for you or your mom. Lily felt her heart smashing against her ribs, each beat a reminder of the vulnerabilities she'd been holding at bay. Apologize? Does that make any difference now? She spat, each word fueled by the grief and anger of the last year. The hurt felt like a broken glass inside her, jagged, sharp, and impossible to handle. Please, just let me talk, Jake pleaded. The sincerity in his eyes disarmed her for a moment, but she quickly steeled herself. Fine. It came out more like a whisper, but it was sufficient. I should have been there, he continued, his voice thick with emotion. But after the accident, I was lost. I didn't know how to face you. I was ashamed. I didn't even know how to reach out. I thought it was too late. His words struck her like a bolt of lightning. She felt the edges of her anger begin to fray, revealing a vulnerability she hadn't anticipated. I didn't want to be alone anymore, and you chose to disappear, Lily murmured, the bitterness creeping back in. I wanted someone to remind me that I wasn't forgotten. I'm here now, Jake said earnestly. I want to be part of your life again, if you'll let me. I can't change the past, but I want to help however I can. Your dad wouldn't want you to be alone. I'm sorry for everything. Lily took a step back, the whirlwind of emotions threatening to consume her. She wanted to scream, to tell him to leave, but she also felt drawn to the idea of connection, even one wrapped in pain. I need time, she managed, her voice trembling. I can't just jump back into things. Take all the time you need, Jake replied. And if you ever need someone, I'll be here. As he turned to leave, a wave of uncertainty washed over her. Could she really let someone back in after everything? Mia rejoined her, watching the man walk away with a contemplative look on her face. What was that about? She asked, breaking the silence that had settled around them. That was Jake, Lily whispered, her throat tight. Someone from my past I thought I'd never have to see again. Lily turned her gaze to the horizon, where dark clouds gathered ominously. The weight of the world around her felt enormous, but beneath it, a flicker of hope pulsed. Maybe she could learn to navigate this storm, to find her way through. But just then, the low rumble of thunder echoed overhead, and Lily's heart danced with trepidation. Would this be another storm to weather, or the beginning of something new? Lily stood there, eyes fixed on the darkening clouds, feeling a tempest brewing within her, as fierce and unpredictable as the storm above. The words Jake had spoken lingered in her mind, a chorus of confusion and hesitance playing over and over. Mia's presence was a comforting weight at her side, grounding her, but the tension in the air was palpable. You okay? Mia asked gently, her bright eyes searching Lily's for answers. No, Lily admitted, her voice barely a whisper. Not really. She inhaled deeply, attempting to summon the courage she felt was slipping through her fingers. I thought I'd left all of that behind, but seeing him just opened the floodgates. Mia nodded, her brow furrowing. It's a lot to process. Do you want to go somewhere? Maybe grab a coffee and talk. Lily glanced toward where Jake had vanished, an ache in her heart driving her forward. I don't know, part of me wants to talk about it. But another part is terrified of what that might mean. Do you think he's really sorry? Mia asked, tilting her head slightly, genuinely interested. The question hung in the air. Was he? Part of her wanted to believe him. But trust? It felt like a shattered window, too many shards left to pick up. I don't know, she finally confessed. It's like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff. I'm scared of falling again. Then don't jump yet, Mia replied firmly, giving her arm a reassuring squeeze. You don't have to make any decisions now. Just take your time. Nodding, Lily felt urgency pulse through her, mingling with the storm clouds overhead. But what if staying still feels like letting the past win? I can't let him get under my skin again. I just can't. Moving on doesn't mean you have to ignore what happened, Mia replied, her voice calm and steady. It's okay for you to feel angry and sad and confused. Just remember it's your choice how to handle it. With a grateful glance at her friend, Lily let out a breath she didn't realize she had been holding. Thanks, Mia. I needed to hear that. I guess inside, I know I can't avoid him forever. Exactly, Mia said, her smile turning a bit mischievous. But you could get some ice cream first. Simon, it's always a good time for ice cream. Lily couldn't help but chuckle, feeling a flicker of warmth as they walked, side by side, away from the heavy memories that wafted around the park. Their laughter softened the edges of her anxiety, but it couldn't completely erase the knot still tightening in her stomach. The sky darkened further, releasing a few drops of rain as they reached the little cafe at the corner. She pushed those unsettling thoughts away for the moment. There was always time to confront them later. As they waited for their ice cream, a familiar figure appeared in the cafe window. Startled, Lily's heart sank. It was Jake. She wanted to turn away, to hide from what his presence represented. But before she could process it, he spotted her. Their eyes locked, and for a heartbeat, the world around her blurred into the background. Then, with a rush of unexpected energy, she felt a voice whisper inside her, what if this was the moment she had feared yet longed for? Instead of anguish, maybe it was a chance for clarity. Lily? Mia's voice broke the spell, but the thunder grumbled outside, and it felt like another storm was about to break. Would she confront the past? Or would she let it go? Lily's heart raced, the energy between her and Jake crackling in the damp air. She could feel Mia's gaze darting back and forth, sensing the tension, but she couldn't tear her eyes from him. There was something painfully familiar about the way he stood, hands in pockets, eyes searching as if he didn't know whether to approach or retreat. The cafe buzzed around them, the hum of conversation, the clinking of cups providing a backdrop to this overwhelming moment. She could almost hear every drop of rain hit the window, each one echoing her heartbeat, drumming a rhythm of dread and anticipation. Jake took a step toward them, a hesitant smile forming that struck her as both hopeful and desperate. With every second that ticked by, it felt like the world had slipped away. Lily. He started, his voice just above a whisper. She didn't know if she wanted to shout or cry, but all that came out was a shaky exhale. Mia's arm around her shoulder tightened, a gentle anchoring force amidst the storm brewing in her heart. Do you want to talk? Jake asked, his voice quavering slightly. It wasn't the bravado he used to project, but something softer, almost vulnerable. Talk? Lily echoed, her voice catching in her throat. What do you even say after everything? I know I messed up, Jake replied, and there was sincerity etched in his features. I've had time to think. To really feel sorry for what I did. I just want a chance to explain, to apologize if you'll let me. Is that all you think this is about? An apology? Anger suddenly flared within her, scorching through the cloudiness of her fear. Just a few words and everything will be fine again? You hurt me, Jake. The weight of her emotions hung in the air, palpable and real. Those caught in the cafe's chatter turned their heads, some with judgment, some with pity. But she didn't care. She took a breath, her heart thundering in her ears. I didn't mean to hurt you, Jake pressed, stepping closer, urgency in his voice. I was stupid, selfish, and I didn't understand what I was losing. I've regretted it every day. Please, just give me a moment to explain. Lily felt a mix of anger and longing, both pulling her in opposing directions. She could see the hurt in his expression, but how could she trust? What if I say no? What if I walk away? What if I let this whole thing end? Mia's weight beside her was reassuring. You control the narrative, Lily. You dictate your own story. She looked between her friend and Jake. Here was a chance to wrestle with the ghosts of her past or free herself from their grip altogether. But in that moment, talking felt more like navigating a minefield than a path to healing. I don't know if I can do this, she admitted, clenching her fists. The storm outside intensified, each roll of thunder sounding like a heartbeat of uncertainty that mirrored her internal turmoil. Just then, Mia spoke softly yet firmly. You can choose, Lily. It's your call. And I'll be right here no matter what you decide. That steadiness in Mia's voice ignited a spark. Inside her, the tempest shifted from chaos to an unsettling calm, as if waiting for the eyes of the storm to clear. What if confronting the past could be the beginning of something needed, something different? But before she could reply, Jake's eyes flickered with a new emotion, an unspoken plea that ripped through her resolve. Would she allow him in, or was it time to close this chapter for good? Lily's heart tugged in every direction as she stared at Jake's imploring face. The cafe felt smaller now, every glance from the curious patrons turning into a spotlight, sharpening their moment. Mia's hand squeezed her shoulder, a silent nudge that brought forth every question she'd been wrestling with. A mix of anger and yearning bubbled inside her. She wanted to tell him everything he had stolen from her, every piece of trust he had shattered. But was that what this was? An opportunity to air all the hurt, or was it a chance for closure? "Do you really mean that?" she finally managed to ask. Her voice was steady, but her heart was anything but. "Do you really regret it, or is this just guilt speaking?" Jake faltered for a moment, and in that breath, Lily caught a glimpse of the boy she once knew. "It's real, Lily. It's every single day I wake up thinking I let the best thing in my life slip through my fingers. I didn't." He hesitated, searching for the right words. "I didn't realize how much I needed you until you were gone." The sincerity in his voice struck a chord, and she felt a crack in her hard exterior. It was a small flicker of hope, but it scared her even more. "You don't get to say things like that now, Jake." "Not after everything," she replied, her voice edged with disbelief. "You left." "I made a mistake," he interrupted, desperation creeping in. "But I'm here now. I'm trying to make it right. Just let me show you." Her breath hitched. Lily wanted to believe him, to let the warmth of his words envelop her like a blanket. But behind that warmth lay uncharted waters that frightened her. What if she made the wrong choice again? What if trusting him only opened the heartache wider? Mia stepped forward, her presence grounding. "Lily, we all make mistakes. What matters is what we choose to do afterwards. It's okay to feel afraid, but you shouldn't have to bear that alone." Lily looked at her friend, the strength radiating from Mia washing over her. And in that moment, she realized it wasn't just about the past, it was about who she wanted to be moving forward. With a deep breath that felt like a lifeline, she turned to Jake. "Okay. If you want to talk, let us talk. But it has to be real. No more games. And you need to know I won't be hurt like that again." The air throbbed with unspoken promises. Jake nodded slowly, a hint of relief reflected in his hopeful eyes. "That's all I want," he said, his voice quiet yet powerful. "To be honest." As Jake began to share, Lily leaned in closer, her heart catching up with her thoughts. Each carefully chosen word felt like peeling back layers of their shared history. But just as she felt herself beginning to trust once more, a commotion erupted in the cafe. A loud crash echoed, followed by startled gasps. Lily's gaze darted toward the entrance where a figure stood, silhouetted against the dim light. Her heart sank as recognition hit her like a gust of icy wind. "Lily." The voice cut through the chaos, bringing with it memories and confusion. How could this person be here now, at this moment? As the space between them buzzed with energy, Lily wondered if she was really ready for all the secrets that were lurking just beneath the surface. The past had followed her, and now it seemed ready to confront her head-on. Was she prepared for another chapter to unfold? Lily's heart raced. The familiar voice wrapped around her like a noose, tightening with every breath she took. She turned slowly, the cafe fading into the background as the memories surged back. "Mark," she whispered, half in disbelief. It felt surreal to see him here, after all that time. The boy who had always been there, lurking just beneath her conscious thoughts, now stood before her in the flesh, as if he had stepped out of her past like a ghost returning for unfinished business. He looked older, worn perhaps, but there was a spark in his eyes that sent a shiver down her spine. "I've been looking for you, Lily. I didn't know where else to turn." His voice held a mix of urgency and desperation that drew people's attention. They could feel the tension, the unresolved conflict hanging thick in the air. Jake shifted awkwardly, his earlier confidence crumbling like a sandcastle. "What are you doing here?" he snapped, his protectiveness flaring up. Mark took a step forward, his gaze flicking between Jake and Lily. It's important. I need to explain, there's so much you don't know. The weight of those words hung like lead in the room. Lily glanced at Mia, who raised her eyebrows in concern, then back at Jake, who looked paler than a paper. What could possibly be so important? Lily's voice trembled, betraying her anxiety. Mark inhaled deeply, searching for the right words while nervously running his fingers through his hair. It's about your mom. I found some things that I thought you should see. It changes everything. Lily felt her stomach drop. Memories of her mother flooded back, fragile but warm moments of laughter seeping through the cracks of her childhood. But there were too many dark shadows intertwined that she had buried deep. What do you mean? Please, just let me explain, he pleaded, his eyes earnest. I can't do this alone. You deserve to know the truth, even if it hurts. The world around her faded. The cafe, once vibrant with chatter, now felt suffocating. She felt Jake's presence beside her, uncertainty radiating from him. Did she dare open this door? Or would it just force her back into old wounds? Just tell me, she demanded, trying to steady her voice. If it's about my mom, I need to know. Mark took a breath, like he was about to plunge into icy water. There were secrets that led to her passing. And he paused, swallowing hard, I think they involve you. As the words sank in, the noise of the cafe faded into a dull hum. Everything blurred. Mark's revelation echoed in her mind, ricocheting between heartbreak and slight hope. Was it truly possible that this could explain the gaps in her life, the fragments that seemed forever out of reach? What do you mean, involve me? He took a step closer, almost as if he could shield her from the truth. I can't tell you here. Not with everyone watching. Can we go somewhere private? Please. Lily looked at Jake, who looked ready to explode. No, he interjected firmly, you can't just. Lily held up her hand, silencing him. Her heart pounded at the thought of what this might mean, a part of her wanting to run, yet another wanting answers. This was about her life, her mother. Okay, she said, though her voice wavered. Let us talk. As they stepped outside, the cold air bit at her skin, but her heart burned with questions. Was she really prepared to face whatever lay in wait? Taking a deep breath, she glanced back at Mia and Jake, who stood like sentinels behind her. With her bravado shimmering only slightly, she followed Mark into the unknown. What truths would emerge from the shadows, and would she be able to bear the weight of what they could change forever? The chill of the evening air wrapped around Lily like a blanket of confusion and dread. She walked beside Mark, the streets shifting beneath her feet, each step leading her further from safety. She had thought she was ready for answers, but now doubt crept in, sinking its claws deep into her heart. Where are we going? She asked, the question escaping her lips before she could stop it. Mark glanced back at her, his expression softening. Just a place around the corner. It's quiet. We can talk there. She nodded, but inside, a storm raged. Jake's voice echoed in her mind, his protectiveness now a sharply pointed reminder. You can't trust him. But her curiosity, mingled with the pulse of fear, urged her forward. Did she dare unearth the truth of her mother's past? They turned into an alleyway, and a dimly lit park unfolded before them, the shadows of trees looming like ancient guardians. Mark stopped, and she felt the weight of the world settle on her shoulders. Okay, what's so urgent? She managed to say, trying to keep her voice steady. Mark shifted, the hesitance consuming him. Your mom, she wasn't who you think she was. Her breath caught. What do you mean? He ran his hands through his hair again, a sign of his growing anxiety. There were things she kept from you. Things tied to our past. Our past? Before. He took a breath, grounding himself. Before she tried to raise you alone. There were people in her life who wanted to protect her secrets. And it got messy. Really messy. Lily's thoughts raced to the threatening shadows of her childhood, the hidden truths and silences she had sensed but never understood. What secrets? He hesitated again, his eyes darkening with unspoken fears. I found letters, diaries. There were people watching your mom. They were connected to your family. My family? Yes. You're not just an orphan, Lily. There's a whole world out there you don't know about. A legacy. Her heart raced, a whirlwind of emotions. Confusion and disbelief twisted together within her. A legacy? What do I have to do with it? Mark stepped closer, desperation in his voice. I never wanted to drag you into this, but you have to know. You deserve to know the truth about who you are. Pain and longing settled in her chest, while anger simmered just beneath the surface. You want to tell me that my mother had this secret life, but you just show up? After all these years, you think you can. I'm here because I realize that keeping it from you isn't fair. What if there is something dangerous in that past? Her eyes locked onto his, searching for sincerity amid the chaos. Dangerous, how? His voice trembled slightly as he replied, there were things that led to her death, Lily. People involved who might still be watching. The air felt electric, charged with the unsaid, and dread pooled in her gut. Why now? Why tell me this now? She murmured, fighting against the hurt and betrayal that burned behind her eyes. Because I thought I could keep you safe, but it's too much to carry alone. I realize that now. His intensity softened momentarily, a flicker of vulnerability in his gaze. I want to help, if you'll let me. The weight of his words pressed upon her, and she was torn between fear and an undeniable urge for truth. Could she truly step into a world she'd never known? Before she could answer, a noise drew their attention, a rustle in the bushes behind her. Her pulse quickened as she turned, an icy stab of panic gripping her heart. What was that? She whispered sharply. Mark stiffened, his posture shifting to one of defense. We need to go, he urged, his voice low and urgent. Just as they turned to run, they heard a familiar voice call out, Lily. Mark. Wait. It was Jake, his face etched with concern. Only one question lingered in Lily's mind as everything spiraled. How deep did this rabbit hole go? And who was really out there, watching her every move? Lily stood frozen, fear and confusion swirling inside her. Jake's voice cut through the tension of the moment, pulling her back, grounding her. What's going on? He asked, urgency in his tone. Mark just told me things about my mom, secrets, and danger. Lily's voice trembled, her heart racing. But before she could explain further, Mark interjected, this isn't the time to talk about it openly. We need to move. The shadows deepened around them, and the reality of their situation pressed in. Jake's eyes narrowed. He took a step closer, protectively placing himself between Lily and Mark. No more secrets. Whatever this is, we face it together, he asserted, determination lighting a spark in his gaze. With a racing heart, Lily realized Jake was right. She had spent far too long in the dark. I don't know what's out there, she said, addressing both boys, her voice steadying. But I need you both with me. I don't want to run anymore. She was tired of running from shadows and silence. Mark looked between them, hesitating but then nodding, determination flooding his features. Okay, then let us go back to the cafe. We need a plan. As they moved, Lily felt a surge of strength. It was time to reclaim her life, to break free from the chains of her past. They arrived at the cafe, the familiar hum of conversations flooding back. It was a refuge, but the weight of unspoken words still lingered in the air. Sit down, Jake instructed, leading them to a secluded booth. Let us lay everything out. His tone was firm, yet protective, wrapping around Lily like a warm embrace. Once they sat, Lily took a deep breath and looked at Mark. "Now tell me everything." Mark's expression shifted from frustration to sympathy. "It's complicated. Your mom had to protect you from things bigger than either of us understood. There were people in her life tied to something dangerous. Things she didn't want you to know, to protect you from harm. But they might still be watching." Lily's stomach twisted. "But why didn't you just come to me sooner? If you knew her secrets, why wait?" "Because I thought I could keep you safe," he replied, anguish crossing his features. "Then when I saw you moving forward, I thought it was the right choice. But I realize now you deserve to know. And it's not just your past, it's yours to face." Pain flooded her heart, memories of her mother's warmth and laughter clashing against the ice of betrayal. But intertwined with that pain was something else: hope. "Whatever this is, I need to know," Lily finally said, her voice strong. "All of it. I won't be a victim anymore." In that moment, a warmth spread between the three of them. They were no longer battling their ghosts alone. They were bound by a shared purpose, to uncover the past and reclaim their lives. Jake leaned forward, his expression earnest. "And we'll face it together. You're not alone, Lily. All this time, I've feared facing the truth more than you have. But I realized. I care about you, and I won't run either. I'm here to stay." Lily felt tears prick her eyes. "You really mean that?" "Absolutely," he said with a nod, his blue gaze steady. As her heart swelled, she turned to Mark. "You too? Ready to face these shadows with us?" Mark nodded earnestly. "More than ever." In that moment, the chains of her past began to lose their grip. Together, they forged a plan, gathering evidence, creating a network of friends who would help illuminate the darkness surrounding her mother's secrets. Lily felt a glow of courage rise within her. They would face whatever hovered out in the shadows, celebrating every small victory along the way. This journey, filled with uncertainty, was also a path toward healing. As they exited the cafe, the storm that had threatened earlier had cleared, revealing a brilliant sunset painting the sky in hues of yellow, orange, and pink like a promise of new beginnings. Lily took a deep breath, feeling lighter, more alive than she had in so long. With her heart full of hope and gratitude, she glanced at Jake and Mark, both walking beside her, steadfast and unwavering. "Let us find the truth," she said, stepping boldly into the horizon. In that moment, she knew the shadows would no longer dictate her life. This was her story. And it was just beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.